Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Mondays. This is episode 54. Now it's been a relatively busy week this week, guys. Not necessarily on the painting front, only got a little bit done there, but lots of hobby and other stuff going on, and it's overall just been a really positive week. So I guess first things first, let's talk about what I actually have been doing hobby-wise. So I basically have really been getting the Imperial Guard bug back. I've been working on different projects, some bot action, new secret project for the channel, which is very close to being finished. But I've really had the Guard itch this week. And rather than feeling like forcing myself to do another project, I've just decided if I'm feeling Guard, and then let's do some Guard. So what I did is I worked on the second half of 3rd Platoon. So currently I have 2 fully painted platoons of the Mordian 50th Rifles, and I am about halfway through 3rd Platoon. And 3rd Platoon is the one that is made up of the guys who are all going to be converted plastic Cadians who are going to have the Scion beret heads rather than the Admiral Industry parade caps. Before I forget, huge thank you. A few months ago I did put out a call saying if anyone's got any spare beret heads, please send them to me. I'll be eternally grateful. And many of you did turn out and send me lots of beret heads. And I have to say absolutely massive thank you. In fact, one supporter sent me not only beret heads but full sprues of Scions. You are an absolute legend. Thank you so much. And they've all been really helpful. And I've used loads and loads of them. In fact, I've got a few. I've still got a few left. Not too many, to be fair. I have tried to use as many as I can. But I've got enough left that I may end up making a second platoon with these beret heads, or any that I've got left over I'll put into to make like a big conscript blob or something. So I thought that would be really cool. So just want to say thank you, so much for everyone's support. But second platoon has 3rd platoon, sorry, is well on the way to being completed now. So I worked on 3 infantry squads and a heavy weapon squad as well this week, so 36 models. So and again, just so for those that aren't aware, 3rd Platoon is some of the roughest models in my collection. They are all really old. They're all pretty much my original Guard models. Many of them were caked in layer after layer of paint, and I had to put them through multiple long soaks in Dettol, and I had to put them through the ultrasonic cleaner multiple times, and I never quite got them back to perfect. And I have to say, sometimes you can't do anything about some of the damage, especially when you've built models with plastic glue, which literally melts the parts together. And if you use too much, you just get lots of melty bits on your models. So they are really badly damaged. But thanks to the parts that were sent in, and the parts of my bit box, and just through some really careful restoration work, I have actually managed to restore all of the models. I mean, if you soak the models in Dettol for too long, guys, and you leave them there for too long, the plastic does actually start to weaken, and so you end up getting weird bits like snapping off, so where the feet will snap off the bottom of the legs and stuff like that. But it's all been fixed now. But like I said, it was very rough. But they're all fixed, and we've got 3 infantry squads, and each infantry squad has got a sergeant with a las pistol and a chainsword, a melter gun. Each one of the melter guns is a classic metal melter gun. I think you can still buy them actually on blister packs from Games Workshop. There, it's the little pack you get where you get the melter gun and the plasma gun, and they're really cool sculpts. I've just happened to accumulate loads of these classic metal melter guns, classic metal melter gun models. I originally, when I first started the army, I had the one, and I've never consciously gone out there and bought additional blister packs of these melter guns, but just through constantly buying lots on and random mixes off eBay, these models are so common that I must have a dozen, at the very least, like 8 or 9 of these classic metal melter gun models, and I just really like them. And I haven't got any of the blister packs because I only have one of the plasma gun guys that comes as part of the set, but I've got loads and loads of the melter gun guys. I think I picked loads of them up Well, I think they were being included in a lot of sort of job lots and stuff on eBay when I was back in sort of 6th and 7th edition when I was really building the infantry horde together, because that was the addition of grav and also plasma guns, and that tradition continued on through 8th, and so the melter gun models are often chucked into job lots because people don't want them anymore. You know, they'll keep the plasma gun bits, but they don't want the melter gun bits. So you end up just accumulating loads and loads and loads of them. I also think they were part of a lot of Imperial. I think they were part of the original metal New Cadian command squad, not the plastic one, but the original metal one that came out with the redone sort of 3rd/4th edition codex. So I think that's why you see so many of them. It's why you see a lot of the classic guard officers and stuff like that. But each one's got a melter gun and las pistol, a chainsaw sergeant, a vox caster, and also a las cannon. So what I've noticed with my army is that I really lack long strike capabilities. Not Tau long strike, that would be heresy. But the ability to reach out and do damage at a distance, my army really struggles with. I mean, if you've watched any of my recent battle reports, then you'll know that often I choose to go first, but I barely do any damage. And the only reason I choose to go first is so I can get my reserves on quicker, get my plasma guns on. So I've identified that as a weakness in the army. I'm spending lots and lots of points on fluff upgrades, which rarely do anything, and all those points could easily be going into getting me a heavy weapon in every infantry squad. So that's what I want to do. I want this ability to do at least some damage at long range. So each one of the squads is going to be armed with a las cannon, and yeah, las cannons and melter guns, they go together, but they kind of don't go together. They're both anti-tank weapons, but one's really long range, one's really short range. I am a massive fan. The traditional sort of Mordian 50th Rifles infantry squad had a las cannon and a melter gun, and there are a couple of reasons for this. But the main one was I took great inspiration from an old Guard blog, which was called, I think it was called the Ilarian. Some of you have mentioned, I think many Guard players know about this blog, and it was a guy who had a regiment from, it's called like the Folian 1st Regiment or something. It was really, really cool, brown and white infantry army, and really, really cool. And it's a shame he stopped posting after 7th edition. And it's a real shame because it was one of my favourite blogs, and I think the website's now down, unfortunately. And you can still find his archive posts on Daka because he used to post battle reports there. But unfortunately, all the pictures were hosted on his website, and so now they're not. And that website no longer exists, so now they're not being pulled through onto Daka. So you've got all the text, but no pictures to go with it, which is a real shame. And I wish if anyone knows of some way of like finding an archive of a website like that and being sometimes some people say nothing is ever truly lost on the internet. So if anyone knows of how you could do that, that would be amazing. And if by some miracle the guy that used to do that blog is still out there and somehow stumbles across the video, please bring your blog back, mate. It was amazing. It was one of the best Guard just sources of entertainment. It was really good. Anyway, going off on a big tangent. So, this guy with his regiment came up with this tactic, and I really like the idea of it, called the melter hedge, which is basically where you make, you give every squad a las cannon and a melter gun, and if the enemy gets up close and personal to you, then it used to be where whenever unit could fire Overwatch, no one wants to fire Overwatch, no one wants to take melter guns or las cannons to the face. And it was almost this like counter-charge tactic where you would do long-range damage with dozens of las cannons, and then when the enemy got close to try and shut your firepower down, you jumped out with your melter guns and you gave them the beans. And I really, really like the tactic. And yes, Overwatch has changed now, so it doesn't work quite as well. But still, how it can work is you screen out with one squad that you don't mind sacrificing. They take the charge, and then your melter hedge jumps into effect by that squad either dies or falls back out of the way, and then your 2 or 3 or 4 infantry squads that are behind it can jump forward and melter gun them, and that's really good. And so in some ways the melter hedge is obviously not as good because Overwatch has been reduced, so you can't clink models off in Overwatch very easily anymore. But on the plus side, it's much better because 9th edition, you know, the cycle of Grav, Melter, Plasma continues. Last edition was Plasma, edition before that was Grav. Games Workshop wants to make you rebuy all your models if you're new to the hobby, so now, you know, Melter's back on the menu, boys. So Melter's back in, and thanks to the new rules for Melter, where everyone is getting, you know, a minimum, you know, close range minimum of 3 damage, it's really, really good. Think about it this way: if you've got a Melter gun and you shoot a heavy intercessor with it, assuming they're going to become very popular because of the new hotness, then you will, no matter what you roll, if you're within 6 inches, you will kill that heavy intercessor because it's got 3 wounds. It's fine. You may get some sort of feel no pain or whatever, but as long as the damage goes through, you're very, very likely to kill that heavy intercessor. So Melter, you know, is back on the menu. So that's why I like the tactic, and that's why I built these infantry squads up that way. So las cannons are helping me with the long range thing, and then with 9th edition being a closer game, smaller tables, and everyone needing to get close to each other because the objectives are in the middle of the board. You can't just sit back and gunline anymore, which I think is one of the well, before I get off a tangent, so las cannons are good for that long range firepower, and then melter guns are really good for when you're fighting over the objectives. You can, you know, if you get hit by a melter gun, it hurts. Obviously, the trick is getting that hit on a ballistical 4+ model, but if you get that hit off, it really, really hurts. And so I am going to say, with the advent of 9th edition, even with hordes doing well, I've got enough las guns in my army to deal with anti-horde, to be honest. So going big or go home, the old tactic from my 6th, 7th edition videos, go big or go home, has never been more prevalent than it has been in 9th edition, and this tactic with these infantry squads really exemplifies that. Now the heavy weapon squads, I've gone for something a bit different. I've gone for autocannons. Now autocannons are in a bit of a weird spot at the moment. We've just had, as of today, the update from Games Workshop on Imperial Guard weapons, and they didn't change autocannons. I heard a lot of rumours that they were going to go to AP -2. They're not AP -2, so it's a bit of a weird one because your autocannons have got better strength, better range, but the same AP as a heavy bolter and the same damage as a heavy bolter, but 1 less shot. So it's a bit of a tricky one. I just like autocannons. Straight up, that's why I had them. Second, there's a number of reasons why I did the autocannons. Number one, I just like them. I think autocannons, you know, are a pretty classic guard weapon. You don't see many armies that, well, I guess it's not true anymore. Everyone and their mums seems to have access to, you know, cool guard weapons. But back in the day, you didn't see a lot of armies with autocannons. You know, Chaos kind of had them. Autocannon Havocs were pretty cool, but they were the only ones that really used them. Now, obviously, everyone and the mum gets access to the cool guard weaponry. You know, Marines get grenade launchers. Marines, for some reason, and AdMech are getting access to heavy stubbers everywhere. Why? Anyway. And obviously, you know, lots of armies are getting access to various autocannon type weapons now, like little baby knights and stuff. But even so, autocannons still remain a weapon that's primarily associated with the guard. So I like that aspect, the traditional guard weapon. I also like taking autocannons and heavy weapon squads for another reason, which is they're pretty cheap and disposable. So they pack a lot of punch because they're still strength 7 damage 2 weapons, and from a squad of them you're getting 6 shots. So they pack a lot of punch, but unlike, you know, for example, las cannon heavy weapon squads where they're such an obvious target, right? I mean, if you put all your anti-tank into heavy weapon squads, the enemy's going to blast that away really quickly. Whereas autocannon heavy weapon squads are like, yeah, they're pretty good at targeting anything, but they're so cheap that I don't really care if the enemy blasts them away. It doesn't really bother me. Now that has changed a little bit because obviously missile launchers and las cannons are 15 points at the moment, and the autocannon is only 10 points. So it's only a small discount, but again, traditionally your autocannon was 10 points and your las cannon was 25 points. So before 9th edition came along and flipped everything on its head, when I was doing these models, sort of, you know, doing the the putting them in the data on everything. So I did that in 8th edition. You know, autocannons were this cheaper alternative, which is cool. But to be honest, mainly it's the fact that they've got 48-inch range, they've got a decent rate of fire, they've got a decent punch, decent damage output. If my opponent, they're good against elite infantry, great for this meta. If my opponent wants to kill them, I don't really care. If my opponent doesn't kill them, they're going to be slamming decent rounds into him all game. So that's really, really good. So that's kind of thinking behind those models. I think 3rd platoon's really shaping up to be a bit more of a fire support platoon. You know, we've got 3 squads already built with grenade launcher and heavy bolter. We've now going to have 3 squads with melter gun and las cannon, and we're going to have a heavy weapon team with autocannons. I mean, there's a lot of heavy weapons in that squad, and they're not things like mortars. They've all got decent punch. Your heavy bolters are now got to 2 damage. Great. Those grenade launchers are good, but don't forget that I recently painted up 6 plasma guns, so if I want to make that platoon particularly tasty, I can swap out all those melter guns or grenade launchers and just put plasma in there, or I can just swap the grenade launchers out, put plasma in, and have a whole platoon of damage 2 or greater weapons, which is really, really good. So there's a lot of punch in 3rd platoon. It's definitely the fire support platoon, which is good. So that's really what I'm working hobby-wise. And yeah, I didn't expect to go on that long about it, but what I've done there is I've gone through hobby and I've gone through tactics at the same time. Now, in terms of painting, I always like to try and have something to show. Obviously, before we get into painting, obviously that took up the majority of my time this week, restoring those models. But going on to the painting side of things, I do like to try and have a video every Monday. Now I know we had a little break, but getting back into the morning Mondays, every Monday I like to have a little video, and I like to at least have 1 guard model painted every week. I don't want a week to go by without painting at least 1 guard model, because otherwise this project will never end. It probably will never end anyway. You know, guard army's never finished, but you know, we are 18 months into this project. No, it was July. Well, June. It was June when I think I launched this project. So we're 16 months into this project, and obviously I took a little break, but we are not even halfway through the infantry yet. So I need to make sure I keep painting. So what I've worked on this week is, in terms of painting this week, is I got a classic Cadian Lieutenant painter. This is a one-piece metal model. They don't sell them anymore, but if you are interested in acquiring this model, they're always popping up on eBay. They are one of the more popular models that were sold back in the day, and they're really, really common. It's like the Cadian flag model, the metal flag model that I showed you last week. If you're interested in that, go on eBay, you'll find one. Likewise, if you want to get your hands on this guy, go on eBay, you'll find him. You shouldn't really need to pay more than, including postage, £10 to get this model. And what I love about painting these guys up is that they've got a lot of character. I mean, they're very unique. They do have that. They do have the modern Cadian aesthetic, but there's a few little hints and tips there which make it look classic and unique and old school and cool. So, for example, this chainsword. Look at the chainsword on the guy. It's got a basket hill. I mean, how cool is that? A basket hill on a chainsword. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you can get that kind of chainsword for in the current guard kits, either in the plastic one or in the plastic the plastic Cadian box set or the plastic Cadian command squad box. You can't get a chainsaw with a basket hill. So cool, right? Likewise, yeah, you can get his bolt pistol. That's not a problem. But likewise, the model comes with a little scanner. It's not like a full massive Auspex. It's just a little scanner. It's cool. You can't get that in current guard kits. Likewise, look at his helmet. It's just a little unique thing, but he's got a little combi area on his helmet. Again, cool. And so this is why I love these classic models, because they fit in with your army absolutely fine. They're not wacky to the point where they don't fit in, but they are unique enough that they add something really cool to the army, and they stand out enough. Like, this guy is an officer, right? I mean, he just looks cool. He looks like an officer. At the very least, he looks like some kind of veteran sergeant. But he is. It's just really, really awesome. I just love this model, and it's just a little one-piece model. It's just a lieutenant. They were called lieutenants back in the day. It's just, or lieutenant if you're French or American, or lieutenant if you're German. But it's just a classic lieutenant, and I just love it. I could gush over this model for an infinite amount of time, but I'm not going to. So it's just a little model. It's really cool. I don't know what I'm going to use him as yet. I mean, maybe as an officer. Maybe as an officer, but also kind of cool just to use him as a veteran sergeant. He's got a fluff upgrade. Obviously, the bolt pistol is like a terrible upgrade because it's the same points as the bolter, but the bolter does everything better. And I have been tempted in the past just to say any bolt pistols in the army are bolters, but that's not right. It's a bolt pistol. Got to run it as a bolt pistol, guys. Like, I don't agree with people saying, I don't mind what other people do, but me personally, if it's got a bolt pistol, it's a bolt pistol. If I want to have him with a bolter, I got to go out there, convert it up, make the effort. Just me. So I really like this model. It was fairly easy to paint, fairly routine. Hazard stripes came out really nicely on this one. I really quite like the sort of combination of ceremonial basket hilt on the chainsword and then hazard stripes on the chain, like industrial hazard stripes on the chainsword. I thought that worked out quite well. So that's it really in terms of the painting and the modelling and the hobby and whatnot. Now, a quick announcement. This is quite an important one. I have some great news, which is I will be moving house soon. In fact, I'm very fortunate that over the last few years I've been able to save up lots and lots of pennies, and I will be buying my house. Well, buying a house. I'm living in a flat currently, but I'll be buying a house. First house. Very excited. Very nervous. Why am I saying this? Why you guys don't care? That's real life shit. We're all here to nerd out, right? Well, the reason I'm mentioning it and the reason I've left it at the end of the video is there may be some disruption to the Mordian Glory service, but hopefully there won't be. So I should move in on the 9th of this month, so this week. But I don't have to give up my flat straight away. So the good news is that I should be able to keep recording and uploading in my flat whilst transferring as much stuff over to the new house as possible. The good thing, about the long-term good thing is that I'm very fortunate that the house has a large enough spare bedroom that I've been given permission from High Command, aka the Missus, to turn it into a gaming studio. I say I got permission. I went, I'm going to turn that into a game studio. And she went, yeah, that'd be a really good idea. That was the whole conversation pretty much. So, yeah, so we're going to have in the future, whenever, hopefully soon, hopefully a matter of months, hopefully in time to coincide with the end of the second phase of the UK lockdown, there will be a Mordian Glory gaming studio, fully pimped out. Posters, framed posters on the wall, artwork on the walls, display cabinets, permanent set-out gaming table. It's not going to be done in the living room anymore. I know for many years I've been doing battle reports in the living room. I know. And it's very amateurish, and I've hated it. But that era is going to end soon, guys. I've been living in my flat for 5 years. I've saved up my pennies. And now I'm going to be getting a sweet house with a gaming, YouTubing, recording studio room. Going to have proper lighting, proper cameras and everything. It's going to be pretty cool. So I'm very excited for a number of reasons. One, amazing to finally have my own space. But two, hopefully, it won't be this year. Obviously with, the Plague of Unbelief running around, COVID and all that. But that's a Warhammer reference, by the way, in case anyone gets upset by me calling it the Plague of Unbelief. It's from the 30th Black Crusade. Just in case. Just got to say that. You know what people are like these days. And the cool thing is when that lockdown ends and everything, there may be, depending on the situation and health and whatnot, there may be some capacity, if I've got this dedicated room, to doing some kind of Meet the Mordian battle reports. I don't know. It's all in the primordial ooze stage in the moment. I know you guys I've had lots of people say, hey, could I come on and play it? And I've always loved to. I'm not funny about it. The only reason, obviously, that I haven't previously is because I've only got a tiny flat and it's not super professional. And secondly, and also I want if someone's going to come on, I want to make a nice effort for them. And obviously also COVID recently, but hopefully that will change. That'd be cool. Also, I'd have to work it out because obviously I have guard, and I know most of my supporters have guard, and doing guard v guard might be a bit unusual. So hopefully what will happen is people that can come on, they can come on and use their guard armies, and I can use something else against them, like my Black Templars or the Secret Project. Or I probably should do is getting my World Eaters finished. If anyone's been following the channel, they know I've been saying that for years. Get the World Eaters finished. But probably should get the World Eaters finished. I've got my Genestealer cult, and probably get another Xenos army, because then we'll have a Chaos army, a Genestealer cult army, another Xenos army. I do have some Necrons. Well, I say I've got some Necrons. The missus has got some Necrons, which she plays and paints with very occasionally, once every 6 months. But I'm sure she wouldn't mind me using them if I had to do a guard versus some sort of Xenos faction battle report. So that's kind of cool. So anyway, guys, that's it for now. Cool update at the end. Hope you guys are excited. I know I'm excited. Until I've got those keys in my hand, though, I'm not getting too excited. But when I get the keys to the place, oh, it's going to be amazing. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please leave lots and lots of comments. As always, I've given you loads of information about what's going on in my hobby and my life. But I love hearing about your hobby situations. I love hearing about your general situations. Anything that's cool that's happened this week. Doesn't have to be 40k related. It can just be fun. Just be anything. It's a chill zone. That's the whole point of the Mordian Mondays. It's just a chill zone. But if anyone's got any cool pictures or anything like that, you know, post them on Imager or Facebook or something. Send me a link. Put them in the comments. I don't mind. I always look at them. I don't necessarily comment back to everything, but I always read it. I always look at it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, I'll see you guys next time.